Hey guys, Derek here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome for the first time if you are new. We are back to watch another episode of Severance. This is Season 2, Episode 8. It is called Sweet Vitriol. The last episode was a really good one, but a very heartbreaking one. It was basically a full episode of a dead wife montage. Not a great time. I mean, it was great seeing Mark and Gemma be happy and fall in love and stuff, and go through the trials and tribulations of their life. But then seeing Gemma just stuck down on the testing floor, living a life of living hell, that was not great. And I feel bad for her, and I want her to be free. So who knows how we're going to get her out of there, but I need her back. But yeah, this one, shortest episode of the season, I think, at 37 minutes, so I imagine it's going to be a big one. And the description just says discoveries are made. So who knows what's going to happen, but I'm very excited. So before we jump into this, if you end up enjoying my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me. If you're new here, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon. That is linked in the description down below. You just sync up your own copy of the episode and you can watch along with me. I also post Severance reactions slightly early on Patreon, so if you want to get next episode before everyone on YouTube, definitely consider supporting. But other than that, let's jump into Season 2, Episode 8 of Severance. Waves crashing. Is this the Cold Harbor? A 5th season production. This seems like a Cold Harbor. That road looks prime candidate, like a prime candidate for landslides and rock slides. Salt's Neck. That's where Cobell was gonna go. Yeah. About time we see her again. Just some little coastal fishing village. Okay. So people in this town are a little down on their luck. Devin actually called her.
Hear about that clusterfuck up on North Pine?
Dutch Davis kid.
How the fuck do you flip a 2-ton snowplow?
Dang.
Apple don't fall far from the gutter.
Well, that's kind of you.
It's a small cafe. She must be from here.
Harmony, Cobell. Well, flip my toboggan.
That's what you were supposed to say.
You want coffee?
No.
Tables are for paying customers.
Fine, then buy me a coffee.
She's like, I'm not paying, but you can if you want.
The town is older than I remembered. Frailer.
Yeah, well, with the market readjustment from a few years ago and the fluctuating interest rates, there was a retrenchment from some of the core infrastructure investments.
Okay.
I need a favor. Meet me at the factory.
That guy spoke a lot of big words. Simple mind like me can't tell what he said.
Get up. Close up for me.
That says Lumen on it. So there's a Lumen factory out here. I wonder what they made in this factory.
You know how fucked it is to ask me to come here.
I need you to drive me to Sissy's.
Oh.
Is that her brother?
If they're watching the house, they'll recognize my car.
How much trouble are you in?
Enough.
Well, there's a pier you can walk off.
You know, she still lives by the 9.
I need to get something.
Why would I help you with anything?
You're either her brother or a lover.
We were once chums.
Former
Our
lover.
colleagues lift each other up.
Colleagues.
Butt buddies.
Child fucking labor.
Or you worked in a factory together as children. Same thing, really.
Kier and Imogen met at the ether mill. You know that?
Was she hacking up a lung at the time?
I can smell it on your breath. Pathetic.
Fuck you.
You can help me or not. But I'll not be the punching dummy for your resentments.
Okay. So Harmony made it out of the factory. He did not. Devin, we can't talk right now. We're doing hot girl shit. This is a small little house all the way out here.
You're higher than a bearded vulture.
Is he though? He seems pretty sober.
Tell her to drop dead for me.
You are not welcome here.
You're a heretic. You are not welcome.
I have a mind to call the authorities. I do
This is
not
her
want
house.
that
She grew up here.
peddler on my property.
You gave him his thirst for it.
You got liar's mouth.
Little stuffed animal. Yeah, I saw that. That's why I assumed she grew up here. Castle Calistine? Sissy? Sissy Cobell?
What have you done with my things?
Sold to the poor.
Liar.
Has anyone been here?
No one comes here.
Or telephone?
A Mr. Drummond.
Classic. He wanted to know if you'd been here.
What have you done, little mouse? Harmony!
I want the key to Mother's room.
That room stays
Okay,
shut
it is her sister.
until all who remember her sit with Kier. You know this.
Give me the key.
Why do you bring nothing but woe into my life?
She said nothing. After you pulled the tube from her gullet.
Oh, damn. Slap took a lot out of her. Hit her with the phone.
There was gratitude in her eyes to be freed from her suffering.
I didn't even get to say goodbye.
Your studies were more important. Mr. Egan saw Kier in you. He really did. And the Wintertide Fellowship.
Oh, yeah,
Even
she
at the
was part of the
factory.
same thing that
No apprentice was more industrious.
Miss Huang is part of.
Such a disappointment you've proven to be. Return and plead forgiveness, child. The Egans will grant it.
No, they won't.
And show me mercy. Just like you did with Mother.
She's got you there.
Where's the key?
It's in that rock. Just
All
Take
you will
the-
find in there
take
is
the
pain.
phone up and break the door off. The door handle. What a weird altar to Kier.
Where is it?
It's there. In his doll.
I found it!
I mean, you don't need to yell that. Don't let her know you found the key. What if it was empty? Singular ray of light on the bed. That ray of light tells a story all by itself. A lot of dust. No one's been in here for a while. What are you doing? You pretending to be your mom? Taking her suffering upon yourself. Harmony Cobell, you're such a weirdo. Is your friend still out there in his truck, or did he leave? Okay. He did not leave.
What is it? What happened?
Nothing. Came to get you. She's not too happy about it.
Did you see something?
No, but it's cold as shit in the truck, and I gotta get back.
Yeah. You just let him sit out there for hours.
Find what?
Just give me a minute just to think.
Girl, you're the one that took a 6-hour nap. Yeah, you guys were in love at one point.
You want to get high?
You wanna get high? Are we gonna get high? You want to get high? No, we don't want to get high. Okay.
Okay. So just the fumes of this stuff. Okay. She handled that a lot more gracefully than he did. No, never mind.
Oh, I haven't done that since I was 8.
8? You were getting high at 8?
You ready to man the vat for 10 hours?
Maybe whatever stuff they were making in the factory just got them high.
Shameful that you sell it.
You guys gonna kiss or what? Called it. You guys were butt buddies. Bumping uglies in the nighttime. Except he wanted to do that when you were 20.
I don't think it's here. What you're looking for.
What is she looking for?
She wouldn't throw it away.
It's in that little shack. Oh, a secret hobbit hole. What are we looking for? Annual reminiscence. Is that a yearbook? Okay. Why do we want the yearbook? And a bust of Jay Megan. Did we hide something in here? Hell yeah, secrets.
Find it?
Get your truck ready. And watch my head.
She's taking this head with her.
Lumen destroyed this town. You owe them no loyalty.
There was no town before the factory. And what about your own employ? Everything that you have, you owe back to the Egans as fealty.
No.
Fealty?
They turned their back on her.
Mine! My designs! Circuit blueprint, base code, overtime contingency, Glasgow block, all of it!
Jane Egan
Damn,
was the inventor.
she designed it?
So I've heard.
She designed the Severance chip.
Extraordinary. Why have you never spoken of this?
I was told
It goes against
Kier's
the
knowledge is for all.
propaganda.
That if I sought credit, I would be banished.
She's gonna chuck those designs in the fire.
I hope you die as painfully as she did.
It was her hand that removed the tube, not mine.
No!
Your mother was a coward.
Damn, that's rude.
More sick in the soul than in the body. Filled with malice and resentment.
I don't believe you!
I thought you were different. My flower. I tried to help you grow.
Is this
But
her
now
aunt?
I see
Not her
you are
sister.
a weed, just as she was.
Hey! Someone's coming!
She called someone.
You better get going.
Hampton.
I'll see you around.
They're gonna kill him.
Come tame these tempers of assholes.
What a champion. Devin, the hell you want?
Mrs. Silva, thank fuck. I've been trying to reach you.
Yes, I'm aware.
So listen, Mark has been reintegrating?
We're a copy.
Yes.
And she hasn't killed him yet.
No, I mean, I think he's okay. But listen, we want to try something else.
Is Mark with you?
Yes.
Put him on.
Gabi is like doing science with a chainsaw.
Hello?
Cobell is like with a scalpel.
Tell me everything.
Damn. Cobell redemption arc, who knew? Damn. Who knew Severance was all Cobell's idea? Like, every part of it. Her designs, her knowledge, co-opted by the Egans. And it's so fitting, in that basement, she literally pulls her designs out of his empty head. Like, oh my god. Just, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, she grew up in this like ultra religious environment, this ultra religious strict household, and you know, it's so interesting to see. Like, I can imagine so many people can kind of relate, not completely to the extent of like, you know, this barren town, but there's probably so many people that can relate to this idea of like being raised in this like super strict like religious environment that is like kind of low-key abusive and very toxic at its core. You know, the people there are so like the like cult or religion are so ingrained into who they are that it just encapsulates like every part of them, especially like ones where whether it be a religion or a company or whatever just kind of props up this entire town, and as a child you're like part of that, and then you end up rebelling or escaping and you come back to that environment like later in life, and you can still see and feel like the remnants of that life, and like for the most part you're glad to be gone, right? You're glad that you got out of there and that aspect of life is no longer a part of you. Like whether it be you're not religious anymore, or whether it be like you move to a different state, you no longer you know, live in this backwoods podunk town, you live in like the suburbs now, you have indoor plumbing. Right? Like you're so glad to be out of there. Or I've experienced some of this like when I go visit like places that like my grandparents might have lived, or like their parents, and I'm like, wow, you lived like they lived in this shack. Like, and everything's run down, and you can feel you can feel the fact that there was history there, that at some point someone lived there, but you don't want to be a part of that, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, because it also fills you with this sense of like life is not permanent. life ends at some point. Life ends, and the places you inhabit will become empty, or someone else will live there, and like the history that you've made there might be gone, but currently there's still a history there, and it's just a very weird feeling. But yeah, you like go back into these places that maybe no one's been in there for a while. Maybe no one's been in that room for years. Like there's dust covering the bed and everything, but you know that there was history there. And your feelings around that spot are a little complicated. Like you hate it there, but you also kind of like, you remember the good times that you had. Like not everything was awful. And like for Harmony, like she goes to her mother's bed and is like like sucking on her breathing tube while she's there, and it's just like such a weird moment, but like also like you get it. You're like, yeah, okay, like I understand. Like there is an element of like you're home, but also like we got to get out of here. Like you cannot allow this place to suck you back in. One thing that I pointed out in the reaction, but I want to point out again, is like right when Harmony goes into that room initially and you see the hospital bed and there's just this singular like ray of light that is on the bed, and it's positioned in just the perfect way where like the light would be shining on that person's face when they're in the bed. Like that singular ray of light tells such a story on its own. Like you can see the whole history of her mother in this bed just dying, and like you can see, like you can imagine the tubes connected. You can just see them trying to give her as much comfort as possible with having the light shine in her face. Like you can see that whole history with just that one singular ray of light on the bed, and it's just like, oh my god, like the cinematographer told such a efficient story with that one shot. Like that was so good. But yeah, like this episode was so interesting. It's also wild that like however many episodes ago, when Helena tells Cobell that she overestimated her contribution, and like Lumen's entire thing right now is Severance. Like that's their entire business, and it is exclusively from Cobell. Like Cobell designed, researched, built all of it. Like it's all her. Like she is the linchpin of what they're doing. Her research is paramount. It is the cornerstone to everything they're doing. And Helena says, you overestimated your contribution. Excuse me? Like, bruh. Like, that's insane. That's it. That's insane. I mean, part of that is like the ego and the self-centeredness of the Egans in general, of being like, we're the most important. You know, we have this sacred lineage. And then part of it is like the ultra culty religious side of it, of like, even if it was you that did it, really it all came from Egan, right? Like when she's showing her aunt the design, she's like, all of this was me, everything. You know, and maybe her aunt doesn't fully know every detail of like what Lumen is doing, or like how big Severance is to them, because she's living in bumfuck nowhere. Like doesn't have internet probably. She's using logs to keep her house warm. She has one phone. Like she's disconnected from the world. She might not know everything, like how important Severance is to Lumen. She might not know that. So she sees these designs from Cobell and she's like, oh, like, well, she understands. She's like, this is brilliant. Like, this is insane. You're a genius. But also the ultra religious side of her is just too strong, where she's like, you know, even if you were the one, like, I can't let it be known. Like, I can't let this information out that it wasn't James Egan or it wasn't Keir, whatever, right? Like, she has to get rid of that evidence because, like, even though she's being confronted with evidence that is directly contrary to the stigma or, like, the propaganda that the Egans are putting out, like, even when she's confronted with that, she's like, I can't let this be known. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to burn it and allow herself to stay in that, like, propaganda zone. She's forcibly pulling the veil back over her eyes. Like, she doesn't want to know. It's crazy. I wonder if Helena even knows that it was Cobell. Like, her dad was probably like, look, I invented this. And it's like, okay, sure, I believe you, father. Like, I mean, who knows if she was even told. I mean, she's higher up in the company now, so maybe she knows. But, like, it's possible she just has no idea the contribution that Cobell actually put forth, right? They co-opted her design and were like, hey, the company created this, James created this. Who knows? Maybe they're like Microsoft, where, like, anything you do under the Microsoft license, they own. You know? Who knows? I was not expecting an entire episode dedicated to Cobell. Like, I feel like we learned a lot about Miss Cobell in general, but I feel like we also learned a lot about just what Lumen is doing with Severance, if that makes sense. So, okay, so Lumen, they build a factory here, like, classic tale of a factory town, a company town who, like, their entire economy is built up on a factory or a business. Like, that's what the entire town does. Everyone works in this factory. But since Lumen's awful, they employ child labor, which is classic. They have these kids, like, stirring the pots, you know, manning the forges of, I think ether probably is what they were making there. It's in, like, an anesthetic, and that's what they did. I mean, that's what, what's his face, what was it, Hammond? That's what he's selling to people now, is just an anesthetic to get high. And so they had children doing this. Cobell was one of them, and at a certain point, they decided, hey, we're gonna leave. Probably once they took the, like, actual useful people like Cobell out of there, they were probably just like, all right, we don't need to be here anymore. You know, maybe once they transitioned to Severance, they were like, ether, who gives a fuck about ether? Right? Get out of here. So, we know of the history of Lumen. They have their hand kind of in everything, but, like, one of the things they did was, like, pharmaceutical stuff, probably. So, like, they sold ether as an anesthetic, and then Cobell, working in this factory, gets the idea for Severance, right? She sees people being, you know, what's the word? Sedated, and what is the word when someone is anesthetized? I don't know. She sees people, like, you know, go through this, get high, you know, lose gaps in time, you know, memory, whatever, what have you. Like, they don't deal with any of the pain. Like, no one's unhappy because they're all smoking ether all day. You know, they're all huffing that ganja. And she's smart, so she gets the idea for this stuff and does all this research at, what, 8 years old was the last time she was in there, or maybe the last time she, like, was on that specific part of the factory. Who knows if she was actually 8 when they, you know, recruited her for that fellowship or whatever. But so she essentially took the idea of ether and started developing Severance, like the idea of Severance. You know, how can we sedate people in a different way? you know, sedate that part of them that experiences these unpleasant things. Maybe that's why the final thing is called Cold Harbor, because it's basically her town. Right? Like that is where she developed the idea of like severing people from these unpleasant emotions and experiences. Is she developed it in a town that is like so centered around a cold harbor. That would be interesting. But yeah, so she develops this and is in this like fellowship. Who knows? I don't know if she developed it, like did all that research beforehand or like during or what have you, or like when, like at what point she developed and did this research. But at some point she developed it, probably brought it to the higher ups, and they were like, that's a brilliant idea, that's ours now. Right? Like you work for us, like you work for this company and you developed something, that's our property now, like it's in your contract, sorry. And she's like, what the fuck? And they probably told her like, you can work or run the severed floor, like you can be in charge of your experiments and continue your research, but it's us that gets to take credit for this. And so she's just been doing that, and then they fired her and told her you didn't contribute anything. So she's like, F that, like I'm turning on you now. Like that's what I'm doing. I'm in my redemption era. And now she's gonna help Mark somehow. The children yearn for the ether factory. Love it. Yo, that's so funny. Season 1, Lumen is straight up telling Cobell that reintegration is not possible. Like they're telling her what is and isn't possible about the thing she invented. Like just like what level of gaslighting is that? Just her being like, I fucking made this. Like what do you mean you're gonna tell me that's how it works? Like I know how it works. I made it. I invented this. What are you talking about? Like she has to get proof. Like she's like, I know that this can happen. I know we can do this, but like she needed like an actual verifiable proof test case. And she got it in Petey. Petey ended up dying, but she's like, hey, it can happen. I can do it. Like it's crazy. It also makes sense why she's so invested in she was so invested in Mark and Gemma, because she wants to know just how well the thing she invented works, right? This entire thing is her brainchild. Oh, and in the intro then, when we go, it like literally shows her and we go inside her brain. Like, oh my god, there's so many things that they just place in front of you early on and you just don't see what it means until later. It's like crazy. But yeah, I don't know. This episode was very interesting to me because as someone, I'm from Minnesota, and there are places in Minnesota that give off similar vibes to this, right? Like especially in northern Minnesota, kind of up by Duluth, you know, places where most of the town relied on like a singular industry, right? Early on in like Duluth and up near those places, it was like either grain or iron or something, like the Iron Range of Minnesota. This gave off similar vibes of like, you go there and you can tell at one point a lot of people lived here. At one point, like there's still a lot of houses, but now a lot of them are empty, kind of worn down, and there's still a decent amount of people there. And they're trying to keep their failing town alive. But now that all of the industry is gone, like what do you do? How do you keep that town afloat? And people slowly leave, and the locals that like don't have the opportunity or the ability to leave, they slowly just become more down on their luck. They become sicker, they become frailer. And it's just not a great environment, and especially in the winter, it just sucks. Like nobody's having a fun time. So yeah, this town very much just reminded me of like Iron Range, northern Minnesota, mixed with like a New England fishing village. Like just a down on their luck town that no longer has the industry it once had. And it also just goes to show like how much Lumen hurts people. Like they do horrible, mean things to people on individual bases, but they also just tear up a town. Like they build a factory in this town. I mean, her aunt says, you know, there wasn't much of a town before they built a factory, but there probably was. There probably was a decent little town, just this gathering of people, you know, doing their thing. Maybe they were a fishing village at one point, like that was their thing. Because, you know, most towns that are built on like a harbor like that typically were like a fishing village. They made their money by fishing and going out and doing things on boats. Now there's no boats because they built that factory. No one needed to go out fishing. They made good money. You know, they sent their child to go work in the mines. You know, it was fine. And Lumen came in, they took advantage of the people there, and then when they got what they needed and stripped it of its resources, they just left. They just left, and they didn't care about the town once they were gone. And not only did they take the natural resources, they took their like socio-economical resources. They took the promising candidates like Cobell. They took them and they just left. They took her knowledge and then they claimed it as their own. Like they just take and take and take, and they don't really care who they leave behind them. And not to say that Cobell is like free of guilt and blame here. Like was an instrumental part of this, right? There is an element of forgiveness and grace that you can give her because to a certain extent she was this kid that was indoctrinated into this, you know, ultra religious cult. And, you know, once you escape from that, then you know who you are. But like when you're indoctrinated into that from a young age, it is tough to escape. It is tough to find out like who you actually are as an individual. You know, it's why a lot of religious people go through something called deconstruction, where they really like take apart elements of their faith and figure out like, why do I believe certain things? What do I actually believe? How does this affect my life now? Versus like, you know, are some of the things I believe inherently tied to the structure and institutions that I knew growing up, right? Like I've done that. I grew up in a pretty religious household. You know, I went to church all the time. I mean, I still go to church, but like that was like a huge part of my life growing up, is like go to church on Sundays, on Wednesdays, like youth group, you know, we would volunteer at church a lot on like Saturdays. You know, church was like a huge part of my life. And like as I grew up, I had to take a look at that, take a look at my faith and the world around me, and really take stock of what I believe. I had to deconstruct my faith to figure out like, do I actually believe these things? And if I do, why? And like, how does that apply to my life now? And some people that go through deconstruction, they decide at the end of it, I don't believe these things. They decide to leave that part of them behind completely. A lot of other people that go through deconstruction end up coming out the other side of it, either like being like, yeah, I still believe in these things, maybe not to the same extent. You know, I'm not as fully into it as I was before. There's elements of it I no longer believe and no longer follow. And then there's other people who go through that and they're like, you know what? I believe even harder. And then they lean into that element of themselves. And I am not one of those people. I would consider myself in the middle group where like I came out the other side and I was like, you know what? I still believe. I still have faith. I'm still a Christian. but there are some significant elements of that that I maybe am not going to follow as closely. Especially how it relates to like modern day right-wing politics. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna cleanly separate these things. Like, and a lot of people who claim to be Christians, unfortunately, their faith is inherently tied to that right-wing institution. Similar to maybe like Lumen, where like it's hard to, where like that, like those two elements of things are just so inherently tied together. Like, this company has essentially created its own faith and indoctrinated these people into this faith, and working at the company, you become like you can't even like, you basically like can't even actually work at the company without being part of this like weird faith. It's kind of crazy. Like, I imagine you can be a regular worker, maybe like a janitor or something, and not know what's going on. But if you want to be any sort of like higher up manager, whatever, you have to be like core tied to this faith. And it's very interesting and it's very weird. But yeah, this episode was wild. It was wild, just learning about all these things, and you get glimpses into Cobell's past, where her and her middle school boyfriend worked in a factory and probably fell in love. And I made jokes about them being butt buddies, but then I was like, oh wait, they're actually probably children working in this factory. Like, they probably weren't doing that as kids. And then I made a comment later after they kissed where I don't know if I made it verbally or I just made it in my head, where I think my thought was, he would have preferred it to happen differently. So I kind of imagined that was their first kiss. After I made all those jokes about them being butt buddies, I was like, I wonder if that was actually the first time they ever kissed. And he's been in love with her this whole time. And she maybe was in love with him too when they were kids, but like, that was their first kiss, and they both seemed disappointed for different reasons. Maybe her reason for being disappointed was like, okay, like, she's annoyed that she still has an attachment to this time in her life, whether that be him or her mother or whatever. Like, she's upset that there are still elements of this era of her life that tie her down, and he is disappointed because that wasn't how he imagined their first kiss. He wanted to do that a long time ago. I said he wanted to do that when they were 20. He wanted to fall in love with her and grow old together and have a family, and it didn't happen because she got out and he didn't. But he didn't hold like resentment for her, like he still loved her. And now they finally got their first kiss, and it's just sad. And then he is probably gonna die, helping her get away. His final line, "Come tame these tempers, assholes." Like, ooh, goated. You are the man, dude. But that whole headcanon around that kiss is purely in my own brain. There's no evidence to support that. That's just me. That's me inventing headcanon. But yeah, and then we end the episode with her talking to Mark on the phone, being like, tell me everything, because she's gonna come fix whatever the fuck Ragabi was doing. Ragabi is doing, woodworking with a fucking chainsaw. Like, she is, a blunt instrument, and Cobell is gonna come in and do some scalpel medical magic. Like, she knows exactly how this thing works. If she knows that reintegration is possible, she can make it happen super easy. Like, it'll be smooth like butter, baby. Like, it'll be so easy, especially now that she's not like gung-ho hard on for Lumen. Like, she's gonna be way more interested in helping us. But another banger of an episode. We got 2 episodes left, which is kind of crazy, and I'm really excited to see where it takes us. I think that's all I have to say about this one, though. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Very curious to see how you guys feel. Otherwise, if you enjoyed my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me. If If you're new here, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon. That is linked in the description down below. You just sync up your own copy of the episode and you can watch along with me. I also post Severance reactions earlier on Patreon than I do on YouTube. So if you want to get that one first, definitely consider supporting. Other than that though, I think that's all I gotta say. So again, thank you for watching and I will catch you guys next time.